It appears that the Vietnamese contingent, the two Vietnamese teams that would have represented Vietnam at Worlds, are unable to attend Worlds due to COVID concerns. It was reported by all three of my colleagues, actually, that are on this program, that there were concerns that those teams would not be able to re-enter their country of origin after attending Worlds. And so now Worlds will go from a 24-team format to a 22-team format. Emily, starting with you, how does I guess the first thought is that we have less teams now. And so the flow of Worlds has changed. The play-in stage has changed. Certain teams, particularly in the LCK, will automatically now go to the group stage. Like, how does this change the flow of Worlds?
So there's a lot. I think the big thing is that there's now 2 groups of 5 where the top 4 teams come out, which is what we were discussing kind of off camera prior to getting it confirmed in the blog this morning. I think that's like the biggest format change because I think previously you kind of had fewer teams to prep for and like just a smaller pool of teams to prep for just is easier. But you also only one team from each of these groups is not going to be making it to a bracket format, right? So, I mean, there's a little bit more of a risk because you could end up with major region teams facing major region teams to eliminate each other. So we'll see how it works out. It should be pretty interesting depending on who drops single games in the single game round robin. But I think the biggest thing for me is 2 things. One, the LCK seed moving up, because there are positives and negatives to this. The first is that one thing I want to stress about Damwon Gaming last year, and they said this in multiple interviews that we did with them, and additionally, their press conferences before their semifinals loss, is that they said that being in play-ins actually really helped them because at that point they were a rookie team. They were new to they were new to Worlds. They didn't have a ton of experience. And a lot of the meta shifts kind of start happening, even if you don't necessarily see it on stage in scrims, and there's like a ramp up time, right? So if you get to test that out on stage in a format where, like, for a 3rd seed LCK team, you're probably making it out of play-ins, like, not to be, super harsh on minor region teams, because I'm going to talk about that next. But I think, like, that ramp up time and that adjustment to meta can actually be super beneficial to these 3rd and 4th seeds from major regions. So that's something to keep an eye on, whoever it does end up being that 3rd seed, because now all 3 LCK teams are automatically in the main event. And then the other thing that makes me really sad, I know they said that they were going to award Vietnam their prize pool money, but what I really hope is that they don't affect Vietnam's actual seeding for future events. Like, let's just say that this year, like, we're already doing in a bubble, we didn't have MSI, it's kind of scuffed, guys. Like, most teams have been playing online. I think the quality of play, and this isn't any one region, it's like all regions. I think the quality of play has deteriorated a bit just because people have had to go online and offline. We had a patch change in qualifying an LCK team. They played on 2 different patches in like a massive delay. So, there's a lot of things affecting teams qualifying for Worlds. I really hope that they don't take Vietnam's spots away, especially their spot in the main event, because they earned that from previous events. And it was really sad to see how many people immediately jumped into trying to sell off Vietnam's spots immediately to other major region teams. It's difficult enough for minor region teams to perform against major regions. This is their one shot. Like, imagine being the 2 seed from Vietnam and then you have to face like LGD in your bracket part, right? Like, it's just, stop trying to take away these seeds from minor regions. And I really hope that Riot considers keeping Vietnam seeds that they did earn based on the results that they've already established as their parameters in previous events, for future events, because I think it'd be really unfair if they took them away.
Doesn't help that there were certain content creators out there fanning the flames that Cloud9 could potentially make Worlds, which is full of words I will not say on this program right now, but that was not the case. I mean, I think all three of us here, Emily, myself, and Tyler, all heard that it was going to be always a 22 format once they,
I
like
didn't hear anything
they,
differently.
yeah, like once they knew that Vietnam was a no-go, like there wasn't a talk about replacing them, and there shouldn't be. Like you can't just arbitrarily say, "Hey, Cloud9 and SKT," if that's who ends up being fourth. Like, here you go, come to Worlds.
I mean, I would
right?
have
like,
said
no,
Schalke
that, like,
in this example, but yeah, I
but
know.
Also-
yeah, like no, that's like BS. Well, Schalke's 5, so that doesn't exactly.
Yeah,
it-
are you
like,
also inviting IG?
yeah, like
Yeah, we're just,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
But like no, like you can't like yeah, like Cloud9 is like been to every single Worlds, and like whatever argument you want to make for them, right? Like I have nothing against C9. I know they're like I've known Jack for a really long time, and like I'm cool with everyone, and this is not a personal affront. But like you can't just like chop up Vietnam slots and go, here you go, like auction them off to the highest bidder or the most popular team. Like
Also,
that's such a stupid premise. I'm
Can-
glad that they're sticking with 22 teams.
can I just say that NA fans didn't even want these teams in playoffs? Like they were like, "Oh, 8 teams in playoffs, that's ridiculous." And then you want 4 of them to qualify for the World Championship when you were dunking on your own teams. I mean,
Tyler,
I'm just
you're okay
bringing
with
that
it, Tyler?
Tyler,
Of
step in as a
course.
resident NA
No,
fan.
of course I am. Well, I will always take more spots at Worlds, and I think we can all agree, even if C9 didn't deserve to go, if they were able to go, we could have. They have the potential to do something there. It's not that they would
Sure.
just be dead weight. But no, they didn't deserve to go. I think the main reason why some people thought they might go is because their visas were approved. Like they are a team that could have gone on a plane
So
tomorrow.
was every other team. Like
Yeah, exactly.
literally, no, literally, and this has been the thing. Because I was talking to people about the other minor regions yesterday. I checked in on LAN, I checked in on Brazil, I checked in on OC, right?
Yeah.
Literally for a month, more than a month now, in every single case, Riot has basically applied for visas for anyone who had a chance at qualifying for Worlds. Any team that had even a sliver of a chance, right?
Mhm.
Like that's why we knew about the trick thing a few weeks ago with SK Gaming. If you had a 1% chance, Schalke, right? Like a very small little chance to even make Worlds, they went ahead and did preliminary paperwork for you in the event that, because it's such a, we've talked about this. Emily and I interviewed Jeannie Doi a few weeks ago on for our YouTube channel. Like there is precedent here. Like this is a difficult year to get visas given the whole COVID situation. So like Riot's been incredibly diligent. So like every team around the world
Tyler?
could theoretically go to China, but just because they could doesn't mean they should.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, I want to focus a little bit on Vietnam because I think I'm the only one here who's actually been to Vietnam. I was there last year for the mid-season invitational. And when I went to MSI last year, I was so excited to go to Taipei. I was like, oh man, Taiwan, Taipei, everyone's talking it up. My friends are like, oh, it's a great country, great city. Like it's gonna be so awesome. The semifinals and finals are there. I was looking at Vietnam as like, yeah, cool, it's cool. Vietnam, never been there before. I'm sure it'll be fine. I went to Vietnam and loved it. I loved Vietnam so much. And I remember going to the first day of group stages in Vietnam, and I had like 20, 25 people come up to me, like say, oh, you're the esports writer. You write about the bad teams in North America. And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Did they actually
That's
say
me.
that?
Yeah,
That's
give it a-
hilarious. They might as well
Take-
have. That's
Take your
terrific.
take it. They made fun of me for the NA thing. Like people would like when Team Liquid wasn't doing well in group stages, the Vietnam fans did come up to me and they were making some jokes. But no, I love the Vietnam fans so much because they are one of the most passionate fan bases in the entire world. The reason why Riot's not going to touch their 2Cs is because Vietnam is the fastest rising region in all of League of Legends. I mean, I'm sure maybe China just has more people coming in every day, so that's probably still the biggest. But Vietnam is bigger than NA currently when it comes to server size. Like Vietnam is
biggest server, aren't they?
It's a
They're
major,
second biggest
yeah.
player base.
I mean,
they're on the verge of being a major region. Like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
only thing missing there is the results. And I think the thing with Vietnam is that they're always a curveball. When it comes to just pure raw skill, Vietnam they are up there with Korea, NA, Europe, China. It's always just been the strategic, the macro side of things that's kind of let them down. We've seen the Vongvu Buffalo, Gigabyte Marines. They have the talent. They play so fast, so quick. I just think a little bit more seasoning, a few more years of Vietnam playing at these big stages and having the chances to play the Damwons, the top gamings, the top esports, the JD gamings. The more reps that Vietnam gets against these top teams and they get to play against the best in the world, it's only going to up their level. And because of how popular the game is in Vietnam, we are going to see players like Sofum and Levy, and there's so many new stars from Vietnam cropping up every single year. They are on the verge of being a major region with PCS. With PCS kind of following.
Like SFM is in Worlds. Like all of Vietnam is going to be behind Suning now. Like all of those fans, they are now behind Suning almost entirely, because I mean SFM has been like certainly an LPL caliber jungler for the entirety of his time there. If not, like to your point about individual mechanics, if not like one of the better junglers in the league at times, depending on meta. So like that's just proof right there. Like he immediately came into the league, did not have a hard time keeping up, was completely fine, and now is finally going to Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, I totally think in a world where Taiwan is no longer a major region and the PCS lost that slot, like if they're going to promote another one and make it 5 major regions again, like it used to be, that should be Vietnam. They should be that region. Like they are like very competitive, right? And like maybe some of us are still really high on like the Gigabyte Marines 2017 run, if I remember right, 2017 MSI, but but I still think that
Worlds.
I still think that generally, like this region is growing to Tyler's point, and like arbitrarily replacing them after you already made enough fuss that NA and Korea are not getting four seeds. Like you can't just change that to sort of like suit fans. I think Riot made the right decision. I would have been very upset if they made the other one.